I need families to hear me loud and clear. Downtown is not a 1 a.m. destination for your 15-year-old.
A plea to parents this morning after a shooting leaves one 17-year-old dead and 9 other teenagers hurt. It happened Sunday around 1 in the morning inside a building on Washington Avenue with office space for rent. This morning, we've got team coverage from this tragic incident. Our Sydney Stallworth is joining us with a plan already taking effect to keep our kids safer.
But first, we start with our Alex Fees, who's live for us at police headquarters. And Alex, what are you learning about the investigation this morning and changes to some of the youth programs?
Well, Rennie and Michelle, following Sunday morning's early mass shooting here downtown, St. Louis officials have announced they are expanding recreation hours and recreation center hours in the city, I should say, to provide, quote, safe, fun spaces for young people in these summer months. Now, the city is working to expand youth programming and hours at Wohl and Marquette recreation centers in the weeks ahead on Fridays and Saturdays, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. for youth 15 and under, and 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. for 16 and older. That's through the month of August. Police say the shooting happened just after 1 a.m. Sunday in the area of North 14th Street and Washington Avenue. Tourists staying overnight downtown captured video of the police entering this 5th floor office space moments after dozens of teens and young adults stormed the exits, some of them bleeding from gunshot wounds. 17-year-old Mikhail Moore was shot and killed. 9 other teenagers, ages 15 to 19, were wounded or hurt in the process. One 17-year-old girl suffered injuries to her spine when she was trampled on. On her way out, the 17-year-old male suspect was taken into custody, but detectives believe multiple shooters could have opened fire inside the building, which was turned into shared co-working space. Investigators learned someone threw a private party on the 5th floor.
A very chaotic incident. You can imagine people pouring out, dozens of people pouring out, young people, in such a traumatic incident, and people hurt. We do know this party was pre-planned. They did not give the address out. You had to direct message the organizer.
An AR-style rifle and a handgun were recovered, I should say, at the scene. Now, coming up at the bottom of the hour, what role St. Louis Mayor Tishaura Jones believes parents play in this process. Live this morning outside police headquarters, Alex Fees, 5 on your side.
All right, thanks so much, Alex. You know, the shooting happened around a big tourism area on Washington Avenue. One woman who stayed at a hotel next door saw all of the chaos. She saw about 60 to 70 young people desperately trying to escape the building.
I think it had to be horrible, the way that we heard them screaming and the way that they were hugging each other. As a mom myself of an older teenager, it was just absolutely heart-wrenching to see that.
Well, even after the commotion of Sunday morning, she says she will still come downtown.
Our team coverage continues now with our Sydney Stallworth. She has more on how local leaders are working to make sure violence like this doesn't happen again. Sydney, what are you learning in the wake of the shooting?
Well, Rennie, we just heard Alex mention that city rec centers are going to be staying open later now to give teens a safe place to go in the evenings and late at night on the weekend. And St. Louis police hope that this will keep teenagers out of downtown streets and city parks in the late hours of the night. And this comes as the summer detail for the police is working to enforce a curfew at this time. Now, police want the community to know that downtown streets are not a safe place for teens and kids to be unsupervised overnight. The citywide juvenile curfew says nobody under the age of 18 should be unsupervised downtown from midnight to 5 a.m. and park curfews are from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Community activists say a solution has to come soon. They say there's not enough funding to create safe spaces for teens and not many places to give them the incentive to show up. Now, the city hopes that expanding the hours of the Wohl and Marquette rec centers will help keep teens off the downtown streets overnight, and city police are really asking parents to help in enforcing this curfew hours.
And it happens to be juveniles in the parks, whether it be Keener Plaza or some of the other parks there on Market. It's typically what would happen is either parents are requested to come to the location where the juvenile has been found, or the juvenile will be conveyed to a police facility where they will be held.
Now, police hope that these curfews will help curb the violence, but community leaders who do youth outreach in the city say that there needs to be a different solution that comes into play. And I mentioned that they mentioned the funding, the lack thereof, for rec spaces and other spaces for children to go to in the late hours of the night. We're going to hear from one community activist who says he works with and talks with teens every day about the violence that they're facing in the city. We're going to hear what he says teens are concerned with in our next half hour. Reporting live downtown, I'm Sydney Stallworth, 5 on your side.
And that is not the only thing that Mayor Tashara Jones is doing to try to protect our kids.
And we need more upstream solutions. Just last month, I convened a crime summit with all of our region's leaders to try to come up with common sense solutions.
Mayors and county executives from around the metro gathered last month to discuss long-term solutions. They say crime in the city impacts all of St. Louis. One idea that gained support was to combine the St. Louis City and County prosecuting offices. Leaders also asked for a reassessment of the juvenile system.